So good morning and namaste. It's an absolute pleasure to be here to speak to all of y'all. A first round of salute to everyone here. You guys help us live a good life in the country, and it's our responsibility to kind of thank you at any given opportunity. And we are speaking about a very interesting topic called artificial intelligence, and the enormity of this technology and its impact is something that we have seen today. But if you believe we have seen it today, I think there is much more that this technology can really deliver. And in that context, I would want to lay out how artificial intelligence is really panning out in the context of industry, in the context of technology, in the context of several other parameters that are coming into play. We heard a lot of people really speak about the impact, and this impact is across the board. So would want to cover some of our experiential knowledge, the typical know-hows that we have seen in the marketplace, and put that here so that in your own journeys of using artificial intelligence, it becomes much more easier and more collaborative in terms of taking that forward. My name is Ranganath Sadasiva, and I watch the industry for all typical technology aspirations the industry has and how that really pans out. And in all of the years that I've done that, I think, this is an age in time where we are seeing a huge impact of a technology called artificial intelligence, right? So, the motto of our organization is predominantly to really create how do I move the slides? Okay, the next one then. Okay, it's here. I had the clicker though. So from an HPE standpoint, there is a purpose that we have. Whatever technology we bring to the foray has to really create and transform something that, is impacting people, right? The way we live and work is what we call. And right from the hierarchy of our organizations, our CEO included, we believe artificial intelligence is very, very important and very crucial in making this landscape change that we are looking across the board. So artificial intelligence is a very, very strong technology, and I essentially feel this technology is going to percolate down into all forms that we see. Important in that is two of the aspects that we spoke of, right, in terms of how do we ensure that this entire thing is ethical. We were hearing about this earlier as well, and also sustainable, because when you're looking at technologies and the consumption that they have in and around the renewables that we have, it's important that you make that a sustainable solution as well. So it is in that context we will have to look at artificial intelligence as we move around. The other thing that I want to put together is to look at artificial intelligence just not as a piece of technology. Actually, when we say it's impacting our lives, it's got a more 360-degree viewpoint. Yes, there is technology, that really comes into play. We have the capabilities of machine learning, NLPs, and so many other things that are really the crux and the attention here in forums, right? But when you're looking at artificial intelligence and deliverance of artificial intelligence, it becomes important that we bring together the other side aspects of that, right? Use case is one of the most important attributes. You could have a use case for all the people in the country today, because that's what every use case is very, very unique, right? But you have certain areas of focus today where you see a return on investment on that. So that becomes very important. Then there are the applications of artificial intelligence. Where would you want to choose the application of artificial intelligence? Even when we spoke of some of the examples, we know that the application of artificial intelligence is restrictive in certain areas and pervasive in certain areas. So we need to understand, if it is a customer experience that you want to deliver with artificial intelligence, a chatbot that you want to do with artificial intelligence, it becomes easier for you to do because you know what is the application and the impact that's there. And the most important thing in all of this is people, because this is a people impacting technology. It's not something else that is sitting everywhere, right? It's going to impact people. And there are two people aspects here. One is the people who are creating this, whether it is a data scientist, whether it is an analyst, whether it is a prompt engineer or anybody like that, they are doing stuff which is in and around artificial intelligence. But they are consumers of artificial intelligence as well. We need to understand that paradigm. They are consumers. It is very people-centric as a technology. We heard people talking about how it's going to impact people and other things like that, right? So it is important for us to draw out a 360-degree perspective for artificial intelligence. It's just not the speed at which I process. It's just not the data that's there. It's not about this or that or the application, but you'll have to look at it holistically across 360 degrees, which becomes important. The impact of artificial intelligence at scale is something that I would want to focus on, essentially in the context of what we are seeing as development of artificial intelligence in the last 3 to 4 years, right? If you were to look at artificial intelligence and its deliverance in the industry, about 2 to 3 years ago, you were seeing things which were at a POC level. People were doing it at a very small scale, right? It had a very limited impact. It wasn't something that impacted an organization. And to that extent, we have kind of learned it by running around, following and learning from the process. The success rate of artificial intelligence projects in the country, where 7 out of 10 almost typically were failed projects, right? That's what it started off about 3 to 4 years ago. But from there on, I think there has been a serious impetus towards developing artificial intelligence in a way and fashion. Today we are talking of it being large scale. Some of the examples that I have listed out here, some got spoken earlier as well, are classic examples to say that you could take artificial intelligence and create a differentiated experience to a citizen charter, to the way you handle defense, the way you deliver healthcare, the way you actually optimize your resources across the board. It's got that impact. And that is what we will have to be very careful when you look at the other attributes related to AI. But what's for sure is the ability to impact all of that. If you're looking at an impact, what should the considerations be, right? Here are some of the considerations that is an assimilation of what we have seen as experiential knowledge while speaking to several other industry experts, right? The very first could be the type of models that you would want to deploy, right? There are hundreds of models that are available. I know they are coming in from vendors, they are open sourced. All of this is very important. While you have the plethora of options, what is the choice that you would want to make? That becomes very critical. What is your requirement and what is your choice? When you're talking about the requirement, the need for AI and its implication or the usage of that also becomes important. The very first point that I've made out, in terms of what would it deliver as a differentiated experience from what you're doing today to tomorrow, right? You need to be clear about it, because the possibilities is the permutation combination of everything available. But what is it that it's going to deliver is what you need to look at. And you need to look at the typical use cases. What is the use case? What is its relevance, which become important? People spoke about data, and that also becomes very important. What is the data that you're going to feed for insights, then to intelligence, and then to wisdom, right? In any artificial intelligence journey, the two crucial elements that have really enabled artificial intelligence to be where it is today, it's very important to note, are two attributes. One is the availability of data, right? Today, we have a lot of data that is made available, which is electronically available, which is cataloged, which is all kept in various resources. We still have our challenges of getting that together, but that's a primal driver for intelligence. Without good data, you don't get the right output. That drives the intelligence, and thereby, if you're saying autonomous, it's nothing but conventional wisdom. You have to get towards wisdom, right? That's important. The second attribute, which is very important, is your ability to compute your data, right? There was this example that was made out, and we spoke about either autonomous vehicles moving around or drones and stuff like that. But the important crux of that particular stuff was, I want to do it real time. I want to do it as and when it happens. That needs a lot of compute capability that needs to be a backbone towards infrastructure, towards any AI model. So this, alongside applications, models, etc., really put a lot of value into the system, right? So understanding several of these questions that are there, to getting to a strategy becomes very, very important, right? An AI strategy, it should be a deliberated one, and where I want to of our influence, rather working together with a lot of organizations that we have put together, is how can you look at an AI strategy and what are the essence and elements of it, right? So pay your attention towards me in terms of understanding few of this. I'll get into some of the details there. The first one I can focus on is speed to solution, right? Today, I talked about the essence of time. I talked about the expertise needed to do so. So there is this entire gambit of things that somebody can bring together. In our case, we have the experience of doing a lot of compute, a lot of data, high performance computing. To me, artificial intelligence is also, a byproduct of high performance computing. The complex the problems become, you need to compute and get that together. That's how it looks like. So you will have to look at how solutioning capabilities have been done, what is the potential that one can bring to the table. The end result for anybody implementing a strategy is speed to solution. In today's world, an important attribute to any solution is the concept of time, right? You cannot wait for years to bring up a solution. The essence is to get that within a constricted time so that you're time constrained, right? So how quickly can you get it? The faster you get it, the better it is, right? That becomes important. Then, once you've decided upon the criteria that I mentioned, how quickly can you get on to run with the model also becomes important. How can you do that at scale? How do you get the expertise to run that across? Which means that your speed to market is something that comes to the fore. Very important attribute in your strategy, how quickly can I get the speed to market. Sustainability, is big in the area of artificial intelligence, especially given the fact that they consume a lot of power, right? For processing that many trillion parameters, that many trillion tokens, you need a lot of compute, and that compute needs a lot of power as well. So you'll have to look at how sustainably are you able to get that insight. You'll have to weigh the balances there. And in that context, sustainability needs to be looked at from all perspectives in terms of where are you getting your power sources, how efficient is your data center, how do you ensure that the entire solution is effectively managed. You're not really boiling the ocean to get little small insights, but everything that together is sustainability by design that you need to look at. Then there is cost economics, because there are so many options today, and you'll have to look at how do you get the cost economics. How do you invest in a solution or a strategy like AI? Do you invest everything on day one? Do you invest over a period of time? Do you invest as the model matures? All of these things, or can I really take that as a service? Many of the AI implementations across the countries we see starts off very, very small, but then scales as and when it goes. So how do you incorporate an economics parameter and deliver something that's more superior in the context of the outcome is a critical aspect. Accelerating skills and ROI. I think the skills is developing in the country, even though I would say in the context of global countries, the skill levels that we have is fairly large. We have a large skill level and a developing skill level as well. In fact, sorry, the skill levels are so good that the engineering colleges and education per se are changing their syllabuses every quarter, every 6 months today. So my son took up a minor in engineering, and he was told, don't use a co-pilot or anything to develop your codes. That was the first thing the professor told him. So it's like that. It's getting so ingrained, and that's where it enables us to deliver the skills. Better skills, better return on investment. You can do your projects much more quickly, right? The specialization that we are able to bring in, especially if you're looking at model and model training, if you have the skill sets, that really plays a big role. The other thing is the diversity that is emerging in the AI world today, right? When I mean diversity, it means options that are made available. Today, especially from how we would want to process your workloads, the various options there, the kind of tools and tool set skills that are available is all very, very diverse. And it is use case dependent, it is industry dependent, it is the scale dependent. So there is this lot of diversity. How do you make a choice when this diversity comes into play, right? That's a critical junction in any AI strategy today. Making that choice as quickly as possible, is something that really helps you to take off on your AI journey. And this diversity is only going to grow, right? If you were to look at it, the stack requirements, right from the processor, the infrastructure, the orchestration layers, the models, and all of those things that are there has diversity. How do I make a choice? And who can guide me in that process becomes important as well. And innovation in AI itself is also another topic, right? You innovate in AI as well. So there are a lot of tools and tooling capabilities that are enabling better speed to artificial intelligence today. So we as organizations are trying to better things, working on different use cases and models, trying to work with industry, trying to work with a lot of other people to ensure that there is innovation coming through. The other aspect, which comes into play in artificial intelligence is, especially in the context of Bharat, is scale, right? How do you ensure that it is made to scale, right? I remember some of the benchmarks we ran for the largest bank in the country, where we were determining the scale. That many number of users using a system itself is a scale-dependent performance task. So how do you do that? So that is again something where there's a lot of property and capability that we bring to the table. So some of the proof points of how we have delivered that, this is purely from an HPE perspective, is on display here today. Some of them are very interesting. I would want to pick up, say for instance, Carnegie Clean Energy is again an artificial intelligence solution that we have provided, where we are harvesting the energy from the oceans, right? They say the ocean has enough energy to power the world, but how do you model each one of those ocean behavior over a period of time, right? It is seasonal, it is dependent on some activities happening across the globe. So if you are able to map out each one of this, and which is an high data, high compute, high intelligence oriented activity, you are able to deliver an outcome, which is to predict the kind of power generation you could do, right? Since we have defense folks here for US Air Force, we are looking at how missions are impacted by weather itself, right? And how do you plan the weather parameters? How do you consider the weather parameters, play out those situations so that you are equally equipped to go and deliver what you're supposed to do, right? And if you're looking at weather forecasting, we have been listening to weather forecasting for ages today. It is an artificial intelligence based forecasting norm. It is based on statistics and a forecast that's there. And we didn't know it as artificial intelligence at that point of time, but it is. And we have been doing and powering a lot of these systems to ensure that they do the computation required, and then draw out the algorithms, run the several algorithms that are prevalent for the models, which was algorithm then, which are models now today, and we were predicting there, right? So that is how we are seeing several of this come into play. The application of artificial intelligence is never a problem, right? It is about the scale that we need to bother about and how it can create an impact. We have built up a lot of capability over a period of time. Our core strengths are coming out from what we believe is very core to artificial intelligence as well, which is data and compute capability and connectivity portfolio. But the entire stack of embellishing data in the way we want it, tracking the pipelining for data, creating model development and remodeling capabilities, looking at delivering those high performance systems in a way and fashion that they are sustainable, right? When you're talking, some of the systems are the world's greenest systems that we know. They are the world's top performing systems. They are also the greenest systems. So the combination is a potent one. When you say performance and scalability together, how do I put all of that together to bring out an impact like responsible AI, right? Responsible AI is also in terms of how do you consume your power and stuff like that, but also building that. So this has been our journey, and this is a journey that's going to continue. We've started from an hyperscale era into an exascale. Exascale is 10 to the power of 18, and that's perhaps the kind of power that our brain has today. but we will continue that particular journey. So this is how HP has been really participating in this AI journey, and as I said, it is going to be something that is going to scale. Just to visualize the things that are put, that I spoke of, here is a kind of a block diagram approach to putting all things together, right? If you were to look at the last piece, which is essentially, we were talking about food the other day. It's a kind of constituent like rice, which creates a biryani or a pulao or whatever it is, right? The base constituent is essentially the high performance computing nodes, the ability to handle data in volumes and as a spectrum across various sources, all of that put together in an AI native architecture, right? And that's the emergence from what we called as cloud native architectures to AI native architectures. So that's an interesting phase the industry is heading to. We said it needs to be cloud native about a decade ago, and we still were talking about cloud native architectures. But all of that has transformed into what we call as AI native architectures, and that is what we deliver at the plane. And then there is a control plane which looks at the resources and how do I rebalance them, use them, and stuff like that, that gets into it. Then the important aspect of a model, a training of a model, choice of the data, retraining the model, etc., which falls into play. And then there is a community, as I said, which is growing, a very large community, which essentially spans across large organizations, open source tools that are available, which put those models into play. This is where your use cases really flourish and come into play. So we have done that, and we have taken another step ahead to kind of deliver all of this as a service. An example here is something for large language models. We know about generative AI. I don't know, nobody spoke of generative AI till now, which is a surprising fact. But nevertheless, it is a technology that is closer to us as a human to AI interaction that we see. This is a large language model, and we have put together a model which includes everything, and it's delivered in a cloud-like scenario, which means it's delivered as a service. You just pay for whatever resourcing that you're using. And the models could be anything. Today, the one that is put up here is a language model called Aleph Alpha. It's a German company. Supports about 8 to 9 native European languages. But the scope for doing that for a country like India is also very, very large. But here we are able to do high-performance computing and artificial intelligence for large language models and delivering that as a service. So that's something that we've put together. My kind of finishing slide here is in terms of the other references in terms of what I said, giving it the engine power to deliver artificial intelligence at a scale, right? We always know about the use cases and its impact, but it has to be driven through a way and fashion that it becomes even more meaningful. And as I said, the essence is of time. And that's where you see a lot of delivery that's happened from HP perspective. And again, it's putting together various technology options that are available. It is putting together and in deliverance of performance. It is putting together in deliverance of it being very green, right? All of these things are something that we have done. The approach to all of this is what I feel is the right way to do. We have an exploratory phase where we can work with every organization in terms of creating their AI strategy. What we bring to the table there is our knowledge of how we have done this across, our knowledge, how successful we have been, how we have not been very successful. All of that experiential knowledge is brought together. Then we take that with your inputs and then put an experiment phase, a proof of concept that can be wholly put together to reflect everything in a small form factor. And then we evolve, right? Whatever changes, which could be in terms of scale and things like that you would want to do. In terms of industry accolades and experience we bring to the table, hundreds of people and thousands of them across the globe who have done these projects, and our core expertise has been at this, right? As I said, in terms of putting all of these things together, the ingredients, we have kind of really spent a lot of time in the industry. We keep saying, we are kind of an 84-year-old startup organization, but nevertheless, we are always doing these things. It's a unique mix of skills, right? Which caters to the models, to the infrastructure, to the way you want to train the model, et cetera, et cetera. recognized by the industry, again, in terms of delivering these services across the globe, and the potential of having a lot of expertise of that in India as well, and results that that come across various industries that we see. So that's most of what I wanted to kind of tell to the audience here. Artificial intelligence is good, it's great, it's disruptive, no questions asked. The way I focused on was, how do you walk the talk? How do you take that artificial intelligence and bring it to the masses here, ensure that there is scale, we have experiential knowledge within the country, awareness and experiential knowledge of doing this in smaller things. How do you bring it to scale? What are the crux that you need to consider? It's just not one or two fancy elements that you see and read in newspapers, but the 9 yards of how you would deploy an AI model, what is available as resourcing for you, and what outcome that we can achieve out of that. With that, I want to close my talk here. If there's any pertinent question, I could answer that as well. If not, we are available here and we could also speak.